What if I told you that the biggest battle you'll ever fight isn't with the world, but with yourself? That the voice in your head, the one that tears you down, fills you with doubt and magnifies your fears, is the greatest enemy standing between you and the life you deserve. This isn't just a philosophy, it's a revelation that could change everything. Stay with me until the end, and I'll show you how to silence that voice forever. The inner critic is relentless. It speaks in whispers at first, subtle doubts about your abilities, nagging fears about your future. But as the days turn into weeks, the weeks into years, those whispers grow into a deafening roar. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, described this internal turmoil best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The war isn't outside, it's within, and the prize is your peace, your clarity, and your freedom. Let's begin with the truth that few dare to confront. The inner critic is born from fear. It thrives on your insecurities, your past failures, and the distorted narratives you've allowed to take root. Every harsh word you've heard, every mistake you've made, feeds this voice, turning it into a monster that lives rent-free in your mind. But here's the twist. This monster only has the power you give it. The Stoics believed that perception shapes reality. As Epictetus declared, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your inner critic is nothing more than a shadow, and shadows dissolve when you shine the light of truth. But why is it so hard to silence? Because the inner critic pretends to be a protector. It tells you it's keeping you safe, warning you of dangers, and pushing you to improve. Yet in truth, it shackles you, holding you back from growth and freedom. It's a liar, a deceiver, and like all liars, it falters when confronted with honesty. Imagine standing face to face with this voice, looking it in the eye and saying, "You are not me. You do not define me." That's where the power of Stoicism comes in, teaching us to separate what is within our control, our thoughts, choices, and actions, from what is not, the opinions of others, external events, and the echoes of the past. Now picture this. Every time your inner critic attacks, you see it as an opportunity. An insult becomes a chance to practice indifference. A failure becomes a lesson in humility. A fear becomes a challenge to rise above. This is how the Stoics lived, not as victims of their minds, but as masters of their inner worlds. Marcus Aurelius urged, "Don't waste the rest of your life worrying about others unless it affects the common good. It will keep you from doing anything useful." The first step to silencing your critic is reclaiming your attention, redirecting it from the lies in your head to the truths of your heart. Here's the turning point. You don't defeat your inner critic by fighting it. You outgrow it. You rise so far above its petty concerns that its voice becomes a faint whisper, barely audible over the roar of your purpose and passion. But how do you reach that level? In the next chapter, we'll delve into the Stoic practice of rational examination, a tool that will dismantle your inner critic, piece by piece, until it has nowhere left to hide. If this resonates with you, if you feel the call to take back control of your mind, subscribe now. Don't let this journey end here, because the truth is, we've only scratched the surface. In our next video, we'll uncover even deeper insights into mastering your thoughts and emotions, turning your inner war into your greatest triumph. The Stoic sword against self-doubt. The inner critic thrives in the shadows of unexamined thoughts. But what happens when you hold a magnifying glass to its lies? The Stoics believed that the antidote to destructive self-doubt is rational examination, a tool so powerful it can turn even your darkest fears into stepping stones for growth. This is where the battle begins. The first step to dismantling your inner critic is to confront it with cold, hard reason. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have the power to strip away many superfluous troubles, for they are wholly in your own judgment." The critic operates on assumptions, distortions, and fears, not facts. Take a moment to consider this. How often have you allowed a single thought to spiral into a narrative of failure? Rational examination interrupts that cycle. When the critic says, "You'll fail," counter with, "Where's the evidence?" More often than not, you'll find that the evidence is weak or non-existent. Let's say your inner critic whispers, "You're not good enough for that promotion." Instead of accepting this as truth, interrogate it. Ask, what does good enough even mean? Am I measuring myself against unrealistic standards? What have I done to prepare? By breaking down these thoughts, you expose their irrational core. Epictetus taught us to challenge such thoughts by focusing on what is truly under our control. He said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." Your response to the inner critic defines your reality, not the critic itself. The Stoics also recognized the power of reframing. Consider the inner critic as a misguided ally rather than an enemy. It's trying to protect you from disappointment, but it's doing so in the worst possible way, by discouraging you from trying. Transform its voice into a call to action. If it says, "You're not ready," take it as a reminder to prepare. If it says, "You'll fail," let it fuel your determination to succeed. Seneca captured this mindset perfectly. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. By reframing your inner critic, you turn its attacks into opportunities for growth. Now imagine this. Every critical thought becomes an invitation to strengthen your mind. Each whisper of doubt is a chance to practice resilience. Over time, the critic's voice grows weaker as your rational mind grows stronger. But don't be fooled. This isn't an overnight process. Like a sword forged in fire, your ability to silence the critic is honed through practice, patience, and persistence. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to rebuild your inner dialogue, replacing the critic's harshness with a voice of strength and wisdom. Here's the game changer. When you master rational examination, you don't just silence the inner critic, you transform it into your greatest teacher. Are you ready to wield this power? Stay with me. If this approach is already resonating, imagine what's coming next. Subscribe now, because the tools you'll gain in the next chapter are the keys to building an unshakable mind. Building a strong inner dialogue. If the inner critic has written your story so far, it's time to take the pen back. In this chapter, we'll rebuild your inner dialogue from the ground up, replacing the critic's destructive voice with one of wisdom, strength, and clarity. The Stoics believed that our thoughts shape our destiny. Marcus Aurelius urged, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your inner dialogue is filled with criticism and doubt, your life will reflect that negativity. But if you cultivate a voice of self-compassion and rationality, you'll create a life rooted in purpose and strength. The first step is recognizing that you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of them. This distinction gives you the power to rewrite the narrative. Begin by practicing inner gratitude. Gratitude is the Stoics' secret weapon against negativity. Each time the inner critic speaks, counter it with something you're grateful for. For example, if it says, "You're failing," respond with, "I'm grateful for the lessons I'm learning through this challenge." Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant, breaking the critic's cycle of negativity. Next, adopt the Stoic practice of affirmations grounded in truth. Unlike empty platitudes, these affirmations are rooted in your values and efforts. For instance, if the critic says, "You'll never succeed," affirm, "I am dedicated to improving every day, and my efforts will bear fruit." This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about anchoring yourself in reality and focusing on what you can control. Epictetus emphasized this. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Finally, learn to coach yourself as a Stoic philosopher would. Imagine Marcus Aurelius or Seneca speaking directly to you. What would they say in the face of your doubts? Perhaps they'd remind you that failure is a natural part of growth, that courage is acting in spite of fear, and that your worth isn't tied to external achievements. By internalizing their wisdom, you replace the critic's voice with one of guidance and encouragement. Here's the turning point. When you rewrite your inner dialogue, you stop being your own worst enemy and become your own greatest ally. The transformation is profound, but there's more to learn. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to practice Stoic indifference, freeing yourself from the opinions and judgments of others. If you're ready to master the art of inner resilience, don't stop here. Subscribe now and prepare for the next chapter, where we'll uncover the secret to unshakable confidence and freedom. Let's continue this journey together. The key to emotional freedom. Imagine being untouchable, not by swords or arrows, but by the sharp words, judgments, and actions of others. Picture a life where no insult can wound you, no rejection can break you, and no failure can define you. This is not a fantasy. It is the power of Stoic indifference. Stay with me, and you'll learn how to wield it. The Stoics taught that freedom is found in recognizing what lies within our control and letting go of the rest. Epictetus said it best: "Some things are up to us, and some things are not." This simple truth is the foundation of Stoic indifference. When you understand it deeply, the opinions, actions, and events that once controlled you lose their grip. The world may rage, but your inner peace remains unshaken. Indifference doesn't mean apathy or disengagement. It means recognizing that external events are neutral until we assign them meaning. Imagine someone insults you. The insult itself is powerless. It's your reaction that gives it weight. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it." To practice Stoic indifference, you must learn to suspend judgment and refuse to take things personally. Start by reframing every interaction. When someone criticizes you, see it as their perspective, not a reflection of your worth. When faced with failure, view it as feedback, not defeat. This shift in perspective allows you to navigate life with clarity and composure. Seneca urged, "What progress have I made? I am beginning to be my own friend." This is the heart of indifference, valuing your inner harmony over external chaos. The practice of indifference extends to success and praise as well. The Stoics warned against becoming attached to the highs as much as the lows. When you rely on external validation, you become a slave to it. True freedom lies in finding contentment within. The next time someone praises you, accept it graciously, but remind yourself that it does not define your value. You are whole, whether the world applauds or criticizes. Here's the game changer. Stoic indifference isn't just a defense, it's a superpower. It liberates you from the endless tug-of-war of emotions, allowing you to focus your energy on what truly matters. In the next chapter, we'll take this even further, exploring how to build an unshakable fortress of resilience and strength. Are you ready to take control of your inner world? Subscribe now and join me for the next chapter, where we'll uncover the ultimate tools for mastering life's challenges. Cultivating resilience and strength. What if I told you that you could become unbreakable? Not by avoiding life's storms, but by learning to stand firm in the midst of them. The Stoics believed that resilience is not a gift, but a skill, one that can be developed and refined. By the end of this chapter, you'll have the blueprint to build your own fortress of strength. Resilience begins with preparation. The Stoics practiced a technique called premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. They visualized potential challenges and setbacks, not to dwell on negativity, but to fortify their minds against it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. By anticipating difficulties, they were never caught off guard. You too can use this practice to prepare for life's storms, turning anxiety into readiness. The next cornerstone of resilience is adaptability. Life rarely unfolds as planned, and rigidity is a recipe for suffering. The Stoics embraced the concept of amor fati, a love of fate. Instead of resisting what happens, they chose to embrace it. Imagine being so adaptable that no setback could derail you. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. When you adapt, you not only survive, but thrive. A resilient mind also requires discipline. Seneca warned against indulgence, saying, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Discipline isn't about deprivation. It's about choosing long-term growth over short-term gratification. Every time you resist a destructive impulse or push through discomfort, you strengthen your resilience. Over time, these small acts of discipline compound into an unshakable character. Finally, resilience is rooted in community. Even the Stoics, champions of self-reliance, recognized the importance of relationships. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "We were born to work together." Surround yourself with people who challenge and support you, who hold you accountable to your highest self. Together, you become stronger than any individual fortress could ever be. This is the ultimate truth. Resilience isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about becoming the kind of person who can face anything with courage and clarity. When you build your fortress, you don't just protect yourself, you create a life of purpose and power. If you're ready to transform your life, take the next step. Subscribe now and stay tuned for our next video, where we'll delve even deeper into Stoic practices that will elevate your mind and spirit. Don't miss out. Your journey to unshakable strength begins here.